Turning to tech, Hermit is the latest sophisticated spyware in the news, and it is believed to have targeted iPhones and Android devices in Italy and Kazakhstan. Hermit's deployment, the spyware, is said to have been developed by an Italian vendor, was first reported by cybersecurity researchers at Lookout, a San Francisco-based cybersecurity firm. Then Google's threat analysis group followed up, explaining how it is believed Hermit was used to target devices. Hermit is designed to lure unsuspected users into downloading malicious apps. Security researchers from Lookout and Google said apps containing Hermit were never made available via the Google Play or Apple App Store. We spoke about the malware and how best to protect one's phone and data with Carmi Bogot, VP Business Development at Hub Security.
The fact that Hermit's got a name doesn't make it special. That's number one. Let's understand that. Spyware is basically software that uses a vulnerability in an existing set of code. Smartphones of all types are based on layers and layers and layers and layers and millions of lines of code written by humans. Hence, there will almost always be vulnerabilities in this code. They're just sitting around waiting for somebody to find them. And when they find them, they exploit them to get in and out of our devices. Hermit was not an invention. Hermit is a discovery. We need to assume that large amounts of code that make up phones and computers will almost always be breached. They are not safe. Your assumption that, oh my God, somebody was really smart and hacked my phone is wrong. If somebody was smart enough to either through collaboration or just long search process or access to some source code of some routine that somebody published, find a vulnerability that was there for a long time and then use it. So that's the underlying assumption. The underlying assumption is that phones and computers are not safe and can probably be breached at will at any time. There are known breaches, which we like to call viruses, and then there are unknown breaches, which we like to call zero-day attacks. What makes them zero-day is not that there's something magical about the day, is that we know about them for 0 days, hence the name zero-day attacks. But it's all about utilizing problems that were already in the device.
Well, any phone user or smartphone user, and I guess I'll qualify this as an Android phone user, will periodically get updates. Here's a phone update, and it includes security updates and so on and so forth, and settings often have device protection options. So what can a user who is not an expert in securing their phones and cybersecurity do to protect themselves?
So first of all, what you said is correct, and actually it illustrates my point. The reason that you have these periodic updates is because the manufacturers find these previously installed, previously existing vulnerabilities, and then they close them. So there's a race here. And obviously the first thing you should do is keep your devices up to date. And that will deal with the use case or with the case where the manufacturer or the good guys found the problem before the bad guys. But when the bad guys find the problem before the good guys, then you are definitely locking the door after the horse has run away. And so what can you as a user do? Make sure that your very sensitive and confidential information is not stored on the phone. Just like you don't keep your money on your desk and you put it in a vault. I'm sure it would be much more convenient to have it on your desk, but you put it in a vault, then your ultra-secure information, you don't leave it on your phone, i.e. your desk, but you move it to a more secure location.
That seems to go against a general trend in which consumers are encouraged so much to keep things on their phones or via apps on their phones, whether you're talking about a wallet on your phone or using your bank app. Is there a differentiation? Are you talking about the data one saves on the phone or the various apps they use on the phone?
So I think you're confusing access with the data itself. And I'll just point it out, okay? So when you access your bank account from your phone, something that I do, that's great, and that gives you lots of convenience, and we should do that. And while you are accessing your bank account, then your bank information is on your phone. And by the way, if you do it from a browser, for example, you should close the browser immediately after accessing the bank so that nobody else with access to that computer can get into your bank account. Don't confuse access. And also in this case, you illustrate the place where the amount of money I own is registered and recorded securely is by no means on my phone. It's in the bank, in a vault, or in a very secure computer environment. The system of record is not my phone. It is the bank, which illustrates what I said before, that you can access information, but don't keep it there and don't keep it open. With the banks, even more, we tell you not to browse from public cafes, don't access your bank from Starbucks. People on that network can get to it. So even when you do the access, you should try to do it from secure locations or from an area from a private Wi-Fi at home or something of that nature.
So in general, going forward, as you mentioned, don't save sensitive data on your phone. Keep your phone security updated. We didn't talk about this, but it often is said, don't click on suspicious-looking links or unfamiliar links. I suppose those can also be openings.
So, what you're talking about now is methods I get in. So there are certain attacks that don't even require you to hack. Those are the worst. I'm not going to be giving away any news by stating that the Israeli company NSO managed to find a way of sending you a message to your phone that didn't you require to do anything, and they were already in. But those are harder. Those vulnerabilities are harder to find than vulnerabilities that require you to be let in. And this I'm going to get over to confidential computing and the firewall. So in most cases, software that provides protection, let's say like a firewall, stops you from getting in. But once you're in, doesn't stop you from getting out and doesn't provide any protection once you're in the first line of protection. What you talked about clicking is, why do I need you to click? They offer you a message on the outside. When you click, you bring the malware or the virus into the phone. You open the gates for it. And then it's inside, and then it can do whatever it wants. Hub Security provides confidential computing, which is based on a concept called zero trust, where we do not trust the firewall. We actually assume all the time that viruses are always getting in, and that the firewall, while it provides protection, is certainly not sufficient protection, and hence the computing platform needs to protect itself. And in our case also, not only do we stop you from getting in, we also stop you from getting out. Hotel California. In cases of virus ransomware or rogla or knowledgeware, as this is known, if it would be in our component, once it's in, it would try to take your information and send it out to an unknown or an unapproved address, and we would stop that. So that is the unique thing, is you only let it communicate with known environments, and then even if it's in, it can't get the information out.
So how does that work? Is the idea that it essentially controls the access points, or there's a disconnect between the in and the out?
Wow, so you're asking a very deep digital question, which is really hard to explain in 5 minutes on the radio. Suffice it to say that our confidential compute is known on the topic, something called digital twins. Basically, we create a communication environment around the computing environment so that all communication in and out goes through an additional layer that the hacker doesn't even know about. And in that layer, we provide protection. It's a little, so you think, and that's why it's called a digital twin. So you think that you're talking to the software in the device, but you're not. You're talking to a protection layer, which does verification and checking and all kinds of other wonderful things. And only then does it let you inside. And that is confidential computing in a really, really small nutshell. But phones, we're not in phones yet. We only do that on servers. Eventually, we might be able to provide this type of protection to telephones. For now, it's for computing systems.
Carmi Bogot, Vice President Business Development at Hub Security.